Welcome back. Now, as we indicated earlier, that address of the State of the Region address, that is a main address that is for Nujoma of the Khomas region. Now, when we are here in terms of the State of the Region address by the Namibian Constitution and the Regional Councils Act, specifically Article 110, us to deliver the State of the Region address known as SORA. The State of the Region and its first challenges and future plans. We will touch on some of the importance. Governor Nujoma delivers his maiden speech. I'm now joined, that is, by Ginola Nauseb, who is a communications officer at the Namibian, to enlighten us more and to anticipate, possibly expect, and what will mean in terms of the governor's maiden schedule to start not so far from now. To us this morning.
Yes, good morning. Good to be here.
Perhaps maybe I'm sure you would agree that there is that we must have a clear handle on what is defined in terms of ethics in government and good governance. In terms of good governance and ethics from a governance point of view, and seeing that you are coming from the Namibian Institute of Democracy, when it comes at the level of a governor, is it different when it comes to government, which is considered to be sort of the second tier of government, because first is regional, considered the first sort of level of governance?
So in terms of good governance, as prescribed by the UN Charter, there are different principles, among which you have transparency, accountability, competent bureaucracy, and other principles like elections, representation, minority rights, inclusivity. So you have these different kinds of principles, particularly ethics. We are especially a public servant. There is a very, very thin line, and of recent we have how that line has been blurred in terms of often the question of does the ends justify? Do the means meet the end, or is it? You phrase the question. Yeah, does the ends justify the means, or the means? But it's really just a matter of the ethics of the end. For instance, you could be justified in a salary increment, but to what degree you push that salary? It is legal because the constitutional frameworks or the policy frameworks allow for you to do it, but depending on the gravity of how much you push that legality could be then seen as ethics. So oftentimes in government, you see people be with So my feeling is that we as and ethics for our own policy making. Especially speaking towards servants, yes, you can be within the framework of what that should be the eye of morality. To go 230% salary over 2 years for a civil ethical. Within the legal framework, it is not ethical. And institutions.
Let's talk about the importance of building a society with ethical behavior to ensure success of good ethics.
So a lot of it go around the regions. The Namibian Institute for Democracy, through the NNM project, we have events. So because we, at one fancy hotel, on a Felder Hall, Chiwarango, or Power Secondary School, and we attend these engagements. There is a lot of frustration against government, particularly against municipality and regional government, because those are the instruments of our democracy that allow electricity. You can see there's a lot of anger. with regards to that. So what we've often done, well, what we've done, look, in terms of last year's election, you had a total, but how come only 6,000 people are voting? So bring people to ability. Yes, we understand there are these issues that may affect your trust in the system's ability to, but you hold the ball. It is of political or lack of responses in terms of service delivery. And that is why it's important that as a matter of public trust, the first is that the delivery. That is the one thing. And also looking forward to the governor's speech. People need to trust the institutions that have been put in place to get that done. And is through results. People should see that results then that follow. Yeah.
Talking about the fact that you highlighted one of your to voter apathy issue that you've raised.
Yeah.
We saw that in the regional approximately 38% of the turnout people that came to vote, and specifically Ochuarongo is that 27,000 people had registered for elections. 5,000 came to the polling station. I mean, government has made it possible, decreed through the elections, but the same inhabitants again will come back and talk and saying, oh, 7 people really talking about the issue of morality, entitled vote. Have a right to complain if they are not coming to vote for the people who they think should be able to deliver to them. So, I mean, not because you decided not to turn up to the polling station.
Actually, the 38% is the overall voter turnout for the 20 elections, but Ochuarongo, through the by-elections, only had a 17% turnout. Actually, not. And again, there was an centrated that our councillors are not doing anything. These are the corruption. There is this. We're privy to some of the things that the people shared with us. Is that do vote for these leaders. And, it is a two-way sword. As an individual, even an active to say, role must I play in terms of changing things, not necessarily why it's like this. Because what's happening is that a lot of people are not happy with the system and are therefore not participating in terms of elections or attending meetings and things like that. But what then leads to is that to say responsive to the needs and don't often sympathize with the realities on the ground. For instance, Lord, that morning we attended the dialogue, and we attended with few of the community member event. We were only about 7, well, excluding the councillors themselves. And these things were on the social media pages, and people should have been aware, but no one from the community attended. And of course, the 4 or 5 community members will color.
Talking about the governors from across the countries, it's through the SORA they have to account for the resources that have been unveiled to them through the State of the Region address. We know still that the fact that in terms of budget allocation, have line budgets directly from Treasury. Obviously, we know now they are residing under the office of the President. There is an issue of the constituency allocation when it comes to empower. The issue of local authority the issue of regional. Maybe adding up to that, SORAs are living up to the expectation. We saw one being delivered in that region.
Actually, on that of our plant, when the new governors were being sworn in just recently, where she said, have key milestone projects that you will say, I am responsible for that. And each region respectively, you will see that there are specific issues. Well, of course, you have cross-cutting unemployment and things like cutting across, but each security major issue. In the Gavangos, you have access to land and access to water for cultivating the land. So you have cross-cutting issues. So as a governor, I think the focus should be identify capital projects, minor capital projects. For instance, I know in the beginning of the year, the Khomas regional governor mentioned that he would love to build 5,000 houses over the period of the year. That is highly ambitious, knowing that the housing crisis we are already facing. But if there are resources, I think the sky strategic officers are put, stakeholders come on board. I think such an ambitious plan could really be realized, maybe not even in a year, but I think with the right resources and with the right commitment that can be done.
Talking about specifically that the fact that we are in the Khomas region, this morning we had an engagement with the chief regional officer and also the director of health services here in the Khomas region, and I could share that one of the issues that we picked up from our engagement with the chief regional officer when he mentioned that unemployment right now in the Khomas region is 4.4%. Is that a worry? Is that something to expect that governor's statement? Opportunity interventions that are leading to possibility of more creation of job opportunities?
Wow. Actually, I didn't know the numbers were that low. I thought maybe it was 58 or something. But it's good to have the actual numbers. Yes. Often stakeholders will say, we have these initiatives, we have these programs. But the reality often on the ground, and that is what we see when we go around the country. And I really thank God for the Namibian Little Project, because we have so many activities that we do. We have a rich perspective in terms of the realities of the ground. And I guess that is the advantage we have as NID. And the stakeholders will say we are doing, but there is genuinely still so much that needs to be done. Because government can employ, but just even in terms of the free flow of enterprise, supporting youth businesses. I'm glad that the ministry now has a new, we call it the Namibia Youth Fund, is it? Where they want to fund youth entrepreneurs. That is a great idea. So initiatives like that, that are very focused, of course, with a high level of scrutiny, so that we don't have another MSME bank situation, are very important, so as to promote youth entrepreneurship, because we believe that is a powerful tool in terms of allowing young people to escape poverty and reducing unemployment, that young people should engage in enterprise. And of course, government should support. And I actually also hope that I have seen the report for the Khomas Regional Council last year, and I can say, yes, there is, they're really trying, but obviously more needs to be done. And of course, if in his speech, I would like to see how that more will be translated in terms of which activities, which programs, but it will be very interesting to see. But the future for unemployment, or changing unemployment, we believe is youth enterprise. And of course, how government can then support that.
Youth enterprise. Now, specifically, one issue again that we also picked up in our early engagement this morning with the chief regional officer is the fact that the population of the city, of the inhabitants in the Khomas region has increased. If we look at the last statistics, around about 2011 stood at 300,000. As we speak now, we are almost close to 500,000. The issue of this high population density, mobility, and rural to urban migration, is this something that perhaps also that the Khomas region should start planning, thinking around, and maybe that the governor has to address it, of how we are going to address this, because one can only anticipate that possibly by the next time that we have a different census, we could possibly seeing Windhoek surpass, Khomas surpassing maybe 500,000, or even being close to 600,000.
You see, Lord, we have to examine why rural urban migration, and it's mostly because of lack of enough opportunities. And I say enough because they will say there are opportunities, but lack of enough opportunities where people come from. And most of the time, you may not even have ministry directorate in these small towns, but you will have municipalities. And we strongly believe that there must be a strong focus, especially from national government, in terms of, even if it means micromanaging municipalities and regional councils across the country, to be able to effectively do programs that ensure that economic activity takes place and there are employment opportunities. And it is a lack of those things in the region that causes this influx, because people will by default move to places they think they will have better access to opportunities. And that is what should be done as national government. There should be more administrative micromanaging of municipalities to provide these opportunities, and of regional councils to ensure that projects focus and programs focus on creating enterprise and youth employment within the regions, so as to avoid people only looking to Windhoek as a means of opportunity, as a means of employment.
When we spoke to Thomas Okola, who's the Khomas Regional Health Director, earlier this morning, he also highlighted on the fact that it seems to be that there is good news finally in the Khomas region, because I mean, we've been talking about, we've had Kadutura Hospital for quite a long time. We have got obviously Central Hospitals quite a long time, and I think the population, the rapid increase in the population density of Khomas is also growing, and that the fact that the district hospital in Windhoek, which is expected to be completed in the not so future, is that phase has commenced, this is earthwork has commenced. How important is this for the Khomas region?
Well, of course, health. We again sentiments of the president, wherein she's public servants making use of hospitals. And you see, Lord, there's one thing that happens a lot in our country, specifically not with health, but just you put they earn well, they are now in a position of power and of influence. Default from the people ground and no longer effectively sympathize with the needs of people. Of these senior politicians, or generally even public servants, and this is what we are doing. This is what we are doing. It is often because they are not so in touch with the needs of the people, and that is why you would see some political parties saying, let's take or let's go stay in the informal systems, such a program, so that we can then feel what people are feeling, so we can serve them better. I recently watched an old interview on how one questions instead with the interviewer. The first question he asked was, Comrade President, what is the price of bread? You could see the shock on the face of this president, and he gave a number that was far less than, he said something like $10, and bread was at $22. And the presenter now used that as an example. Do you see now the gap between yourself and the realities on the ground? And often that is what happens with public servants, both high profile level, regional level, even at municipal level, that they get so disattached from the needs of the people, they are unable to serve effectively. And that is coming back now to the Kadutura Hospital situation, or specifically the health sector. That is what has happened. I have recently been to Kadutura Hospital, and yes, we thank the president for, because there will be some amendment made, there will be renovations. All those things are great, but more should be done in terms of upgrading hospitals, adding more and more clinics, because the moment that all public servants have the right to now go to private hospitals, they get disattached from the realities, and therefore lawmakers won't even be able to push for these things. Why? Because they are just not feeling the pinch, that the common people are feeling, and feeling the pinch should be it should be more integrated in terms of how leaders engage with the people, so as to better serve. Yeah.
I mean, we're being told that the governor is getting ready, obviously, to deliver his maiden speech. As we wrap up the first segment of this our engagement, what do you think should the inhabitants of Khomas region expect now? Briefly, in 30 seconds, what do you think they anticipate? What is that one thing that you think will be making impact in terms of the governor's statement?
Okay. Well, I know the one thing that means a lot to constituents of the Khomas region is housing. So we'd want to see practical ways of how the office wishes to deal with that. And of course, in terms of enterprise promotion, how can young people access funding to build their businesses, grow MSMEs in the region? Yeah, those would be the two. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we will be coming back to you later, Ginola, to just engage what the governor has indicated. Now, we do understand that the governor is ready, and we are crossing over here from outside the Khomas Regional Council to the chamber, where the governor of the Nujoma is ready to deliver his maiden State of the Region address. We now cross over to the chamber for that address.
This includes reporting on the activities of central government undertaken in the region over the past year, outlining planned government activities for the year ahead, and responding to questions. It is within this constitutional framework that the governor of the Khomas region, Honorable Shafiishuna Nujoma, has requested this special session in order to deliver the 2025 State of the Region address that we call SORA. The SORA is a critical platform for democratic accountability. It serves to inform and engage the electorates on how the government policies, programs, projects, and activities are being implemented within the Khomas region. Honorable members, this morning, the governor will provide us with important updates on key developmental initiatives that have been executed throughout the region. At this point, allow me once again to warmly welcome you to this important council session, and in the same vein, invite the Honorable Governor of Khomas region to deliver the 2025 State of the Region address. I thank you. Honorable Governor.
It's fine. Okay. Please be seated. Honorable Shalukeni John Monde, Chairperson of the Khomas Regional Council. Her Worship, Councillor Ndeshafela Laranja, Mayor of the City of Windhoek. They cannot hear. Maybe you can come and adjust the mic. Oh, okay. There are no indoor speakers. I'll speak up. Her Worship, Councillor Ndeshafela Laranja, Mayor of the City of Windhoek. Honorable Regional and Local Authority Councillors present. Chief Juliana Governors, Khomesan Traditional Authority, and her esteemed delegation. Mr. Clement Mafilwa, Chief Regional Officer of the Khomas Regional Council. Mr. Moses Machai, Chief Executive Officer of the City of Windhoek, and Chief Executive Officers present. Commissioner Willem Steenkamp, Regional Commander of the Khomas region. Honorable and distinguished invited guests, officials from the line ministries and public enterprises, staff members of the Khomas Regional Council, the Office of the Governor, and other institutions, fellow citizens of the Khomas region, media houses represented here, all protocol observed. Good morning. Today we stand together, united to celebrate a remarkable continuous achievement, our steadfast commitment to convening the special council session, which is mandated by Article 1, Sections 5 and 6 of the Constitution of the Republic of Namibia. We gather today to present the 10th Khomas State of the Region address for 2025. It is also with immense pride that I deliver my first maiden State of the Region address as Governor of the Khomas region. This milestone is more than another annual address. This milestone reaffirms our unwavering unity of purpose, deep mutual understanding, and heartfelt dedication to serving the people of Khomas. This milestone is a tangible demonstration of our continued devotion to effective governance and service delivery throughout our great region. Before I go further, I wish to express my profound gratitude and deep respect for the legacy of our late founding president and father of the Namibian nation, His Excellency Dr. Sam Shafiishuna Nujoma, who passed away on 8 February 2025 at the age of 95 here in Windhoek. At this time, I invite us to observe a moment of silence in remembrance of his unwavering dedication to our liberation and national development. May his memory continue to inspire and guide us in our service to the people of Khomas and indeed all of Namibia. May we please rise for a moment of silence. Thank you. Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, with this in mind, I would like to outline the development initiatives undertaken, the challenges encountered, and the proposed recommendations undertaken by the Khomas region from April 2024 to March 2025. These initiatives are aligned with national development priorities and will highlight key achievements on infrastructure development and maintenance, social welfare, safety and security, economic growth, health, education, municipal services, and international partnerships. I wish to further emphasize that by so doing, we are guided by the National Development Frameworks and the SWAPO Manifesto, which is a blueprint for the entire country and a roadmap that unites us all in our pursuits of social economic development, social justice, and national unity. It is these aspirations that inform our efforts in Khomas, thereby aligning regional progress with the broader national aspirations. Honorable members, fellow residents, today I stand before you on the firm foundation laid by my predecessor, Honorable Laura McLeod Kashira, and the leaders that came before her. Their collective legacy, which is a bedrock of resilience, dedication, service delivery, and inclusivity, has shaped our region into the thriving heartland it is today. In assuming the mantle of leadership, I acknowledge and honor that legacy. As I stand, I have one clear message, which is that Khomas is on a journey of progress, resilience, and hope. But this journey demands unity, determination, and a shared vision. With all that has been achieved, the region has encountered numerous setbacks such as limited resources, rapid urban growth, dilapidated infrastructure, social ills, to mention a few. In addressing those setbacks, we will not rest until every citizen has access to improved and quality services. The Khomas region has the highest population density in the country, with a total population of 494,605, according to the 2023 Population and Housing Census. Over the past year, Namibia and Khomas region in particular has continued to demonstrate resilience and progress. The Namibian economy has grown by 3.7% in 2024 and is projected to grow further by 4.5% in 2025, which reflects a modest recovery amid global uncertainty. On that basis, today I will present a comprehensive summary and provide insights into key developments, activities, and progress made across the different areas of regional governance and service delivery. Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, the Office of the Governor has continued to play a vital role in supporting social development, youth empowerment, education, regional cooperation. Notably, the office contributed 20,000 Namibian dollars to the Dr. Hage G. Genko Boxing Bonanza tribute and provided school uniforms, materials and equipment valued at 58,188 Namibian dollars to beneficiaries at Mixed Primary School and Havana High School. In support of education, 2 students received financial assistance amounting to 16,835 Namibian dollars, while an additional 17 students benefited from 100,000 Namibian dollars sponsorship, which was facilitated through the Rani Group of companies. Moreover, Tulipohamba Training and Assessment Institute, through the Governor's Office, awarded full scholarships to 3 students, and in response to the relocation of flood victims to Farm 508, the Chinese Embassy in Namibia, in collaboration with the office, donated 300,000 for essential items such as solar lights, blankets, mattresses, and pillows. Additionally, the Governor's Office sponsored the Under-17 soccer team participation China Grand Canal Cities Youth Football Tournament, thereby further promoting youth sports diplomacy and national exposure. Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, in an effort to provide effective and efficient service delivery, the Khomas Regional Council has continued to make strides in education, health, and social welfare services, income-generating activities, provision of basic services such as water, sanitation, and housing. During the period under review, with regards to infrastructure and maintenance development, the Regional Council renovated several ablution facilities at Emmanuel Shifidi Secondary School, upgrading the boundary wall and entrance gate at Berthold Himimwine Primary School, as well as refurbishment of classroom furniture that was done by Windhoek Vocational Education students. Other support to the education sector includes provision of smart screens at Hockland High School, as well as renovation of sports facilities at Eshipena Secondary School that is still ongoing. In addition, the Regional Council has financially assisted 101 NAMCO students to upgrade their grade 11 and 12 results to the tune of 146,000 Namibian dollars. Further, 60 students studying at accredited institutions of high learning with registration fees at the cost of 251,000 Namibian dollars. Pertaining to minor capital projects, a budget amount of 12.9 million was availed to implement projects ranging from the renovation and construction of toilets at Emmanuel Shifidi Secondary School, which is completed to the value of 755,000 Namibian dollars. The upgrading of Berthold Kachemwine school entrance is completed to the value of 205,000 Namibian dollars. Installation of high mast lights is completed in Samara Machel constituency at the value of 1.5 million Namibian dollars. Prefabricated container offices at Klein Windhoek Police Station are completed to the value of 393,000 Namibian dollars. Phase 1 of the upgrading of sports field at Groothoop is completed to the value of 1.3 million Namibian dollars. The fencing of plots which were acquired for the construction of a primary school and secondary school and a clinic at Farm 508 is completed to the value of 3 million Namibian dollars. The construction of 3 rooms for antenatal care at Khomas Primary Health Center is completed to the value of 1 million Namibian dollars. Renovation of an ablution block at Nicholas Witboy School is also completed to the value of 230,000 Namibian dollars. Furthermore, the Regional Council has approved the following projects for implementation in the 2025-26 financial year as follows. The construction of a prefabricated storeroom and pharmacy and a guardhouse at the Chemise Clinic to the value of 1.3 Namibian dollars. Construction of a prefabricated antenatal care rooms, procurement of air conditioners and benches at Okuriangava Clinic to the value of 1.3 Namibian dollars. Construction of sports field, lawn and irrigation system installation at Eshipena Secondary School to the value of 1 million is ongoing. Procurement of smart boards for Abraham Yambo Primary, Hagigengob High School and Havana High Schools to the value of 300,000. Construction of ablution facilities at Eros Primary School to the value of 1 million Namibian dollars. Procurement of school furnitures for Havana High School, Moses Garwe Primary School, and Monte Cristo Primary School to the value of 300,000 Namibian dollars. Procurement of medical equipment for the Khomas Dal, Ochemise, and Okuriangava Clinic to the value of 600,000. Furthermore, in addressing the safety and security of the residents and combating crime, the Regional Council has also allocated an amount of 1.5 million for the repair of 11 Namibian police vehicles. In addition, the plumbing and electrical works at Windhoek Police Station, Hosea Kutako Airport, Sais Police Station, Ochemise Police Cells, and Vanaheda Police Station are completed. Thank you. As far as water provision is concerned, the Regional Council spent an amount of 6.6 million Namibian dollars on the drilling, installation and rehabilitation of boreholes, procuring of water equipment and assessment and training 150 caretakers and water point committees in the Windhoek rural constituencies. Air percussion drilling pump testing were done at Farm Versailles, from Brakpan, from Kanubeb, from the supply and installation of new solar PV systems with tank stands, tanks, taps, and troughs were also completed at the following localities within Windhoek Rural constituency, namely Nawasport, Satanslow, Garib, Eros Farm, Farm Arab, Farm Versailles. Boreholes rehabilitations were also done at Farm Versailles, Verdroek, and Farm Kransneus. To address unemployment, which currently stands at 44.4% in Khomas region, the Regional Council has continued with its income-generating activities programs under which small and medium enterprises are assisted with equipment and materials. A total of 2.5 million Namibian dollars was spent to finance 144 SME projects ranging from catering businesses, fashion, design, laundry services, arts, craft and graphics, welding, etc. In an effort to address the housing shortage, the Regional Council and other stakeholders has also contributed to the construction of low-cost houses under the Informal Settlement Upgrading Pilot Project. Significantly, a cabinet decision was taken to construct the Common Traditional Authority office at the value of 3 million Namibian dollars. The Regional Council has also supported rural development programs which are aimed at creating employment, reducing food insecurity, promoting entrepreneurship, development in rural areas, and contributing to the country's economy and poverty reduction. A combined amount of 312 million Namibian dollars was spent on the above-mentioned rural development programs. The projects include 3 projects under the microfinance scheme, 10 projects under the food security program, and 8 rural farmers supplied with a combined total of 120 goats. In an effort to reduce open defecation and improve sanitation in rural areas, 194 dry toilets were constructed at household level in various localities in Windhoek rural constituencies. The toilets were constructed at the total amount of 2.9 million, creating temporary employment to 61 people in Windhoek rural localities. Pertaining to its winter safety net program, the Regional Council availed a budget of amount of 500,000 Namibian dollars to procure blankets and winter clothing for around 1,100 vulnerable persons. In addition, the Regional Council also assisted 411 learners under its back-to-school program with school uniform and stationaries at an amount of 500,000 Namibian dollars. During the year under review, the Office of the Prime Minister embarked on the following projects: the drought relief program to preserve lives and livelihoods, of which a total of 5,547 drought-affected vulnerable households in Windhoek rural constituency were supported. Pertaining to the livestock support program under the drought relief program, a total of 203 claims were processed and under the livestock marketing incentives, valued at 3.6 million Namibian dollars, to build resilience and preserve lives and livelihoods of affected communities. This includes sale of livestock, lick and fodder, lease of grazing and transport. Through its comprehensive efforts in urban management, infrastructure development and community services, the Council ensures that the Municipal Council of Windhoek remains a vibrant, sustainable and inclusive urban center. The Council's initiatives align with regional priorities, addressing critical areas such as housing, sanitation, electricity, youth development and water supply. The Council implemented programs and projects to promote social welfare, economic empowerment, community development in Windhoek, with the following progress for the year under review. The Sports and Recreational Facilities Master Plan was completed. The development of youth, including orphans and vulnerable children, and training for qualifying schools for grade 10 to 12. 3,565 orphans and vulnerable persons were supported directly and indirectly. The beneficiary awareness raising, orphans and vulnerable children, soup kitchen and data update, subsidized bus services, skills development in sewing and gardening, case management, Katutura Old Age Home Girls Mentorship. 538 new business owners were trained through the Youth Starting Business Post training. A total of 700 interns were successfully accommodated through the implementation of the internship and graduate program was achieved. The Council has implemented the following approved policies frameworks to enhance governance, service delivery and community development, namely Integrated Waste Management Plan, Road Maintenance Plan, and the Municipal Council of Windhoek Strategic Environment Assessment. Pertaining to external relations and networking, the City of Windhoek has built strategic partnerships with cities worldwide, fostering integration at local, regional and continental and international levels. Brazzaville, Republic of Congo, the Windhoek-Johannesburg Agreement, the City of Durban of South Africa, and the City of Luanda, Matsafa, Kingdom of Eswatini, Krasnoyarsk, Russian Federation, Prague, Czech Republic, the strategic areas including CET and SMART initiatives, economic and community development, development of tourism, heritage, arts, culture, environmental management, climate change, youth and sports, town and urban planning, startups and small and medium enterprises, public safety measures, and emergency services, among others. Pertaining to housing, during the period under review, the National Housing Enterprise has completed 11 housing units under the informal settlement upgrading program in the informal settlements of Koreankhab and Greenwell to the value of 2.7 million Namibian dollars. Under the same program, NHE plans to construct 23 housing units to the value of 5.7 million Namibian dollars. In addition, under the low-income apartments project, NHE plans to construct 231 housing units to the value of 70.3 million in areas of Ochemise, Koreankhab and Windhoek West. Areas under the low-middle income housing units, 13 units will be constructed to the value of 15 million Namibian dollars. Pardon me. The Shack Dwellers Federation of Namibia, in partnership with the Namibian Housing Action Group, continues to support low-income communities in Khomas region with initiatives focused on access to adequate shelter and infrastructure. Services in that regard, the Federation has serviced land blocks with water infrastructure in various areas, namely People's Square in Katutura, about 47 plots, Oshiwana Penduka in Okahanja Park, about 24 plots, Bethesda in Koreankhab, 16 plots, and United People in Greenwell, about 55 plots. In addition, engineering designs for 4 blocks have been completed and will benefit over 142 plots. The Federation, in partnership with stakeholders, is also engaged in upgrading of Peter Nanyemba Block 2, which is home to over 1,200 households. The Shack Dwellers Federation of Namibia and Namibian Housing Action Group remain committed to addressing the housing backlog and improving living conditions for low-income residents in the Khomas region. In pursuit of providing bulk water supply and ensuring sufficient quantities of suitable quality water to the residents, the Namibia Water Corporation has identified the Okavango link as the medium to long-term relief project to augment water to the central area of Namibia, especially during drought emergency periods. In that regard, water will be abstracted from the Okavango River, conveyed to Grootfontein via pipeline system, and then delivered to the central area of Namibia. $7 billion completed over the years. Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, through its mandate of managing public finances, overseeing government assets and liabilities, and regulating the financial sector, the government, through the Ministry of Finance, has embarked on a strategic reform process aimed at enhancing the efficiency, accountability, and sustainability of public enterprises. One key pillar of this reform is the reintegration of commercial public enterprises back into their respective line ministries. This approach seeks to eliminate duplication of functions, reduce overhead costs, and strengthen policy coherence between ministries and the entities operating within their sectors. Recognizing the impact of economic pressures on households, targeted interventions such as the increased allocation to social safety nets and youth employment schemes have also been prioritized in the 2025-2026 budget. In that regard, the Ministry will continue to ensure optimization of the social safety net systems such as the old age grant, funeral benefit, conditional basic income grant, and also the children grant, such as maintenance grant, foster care grant, vulnerable grant, and adult and minor disability grants. Pertaining to micro, small, and medium enterprises, support and agricultural finance, a total of 135 SMEs underwent the mentoring and coaching program, and 49 of the SMEs were from Khomas region. In addition, the Ministry has entered into public-private partnerships projects in Khomas region for the development of the student village for the Ministry of Education, Innovation, Youth, Sports, Arts and Culture, 25 megawatt solar photovoltaic projects within the city of Windhoek, and the development of the rooftop photovoltaic solar project for the Namibia Correctional Services. Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, during the year under review, the Ministry of Works and Transport has installed a solar photovoltaic carport system. As far as public roads are concerned, the Ministry has upgraded 3 roads to dual carriageway freeway standards and the airport. The projects are as follows. The construction of the Windhoek to Hosea Kutako International Airport dual carriageway standard phase 2A. Nujoma interchange to phase covers 19.5 kilometers and includes the construction of 4 road bridges, which are the Nujoma Bridge, Caps Farm Bridge, Oshihase Bridge, and Klein Windhoek River Bridge. The overall progress of the project is at 94.1% complete. Construction of the Windhoek to Hosea Kutako International Airport to dual carriageway standards, phase 2B. Dodabus interchange to Hosea Kutako Airport. The phase covers approximately 209.5 kilometers, and includes the construction of 3 road bridges, which are the Dodabus Bridge, Bismarck River Bridge, and Airport Bridge. The overall progress of the project is at 92.7% complete. The rehabilitation and upgrading to dual carriageway between Windhoek and Okahanja Section 4A extension Omakunde interchange to Oshwarongo interchange, the project was completed in December 2024. Upgrading of the Hosea Kutako International Airport. This project involves conducting a feasibility study on the upgrading interventions and finance options for a new terminal building. In its quest of overseeing land reform and resettlement, managing water resource, and promoting agricultural development to ensure equitable resource distribution and food security, the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, Water and Land Reform spent close to 500,000 Namibian dollars on the National Horticulture Support Program. In that regard, a total number of 19 producers benefited from the subsidy through products such as agricultural inputs, drip irrigation materials, solar-powered submersible pumps, and shade nets. A total of 262 horticultural producers were also trained in horticultural production. In addition, a total of 495,000 Namibian dollars was spent on poultry value chain development scheme. Accordingly, a total number of 42 small-scale poultry producers benefited from a subsidy. A total of 233 community members were also trained under the Khomas capacity building projects on poultry production. Pertaining to the Namibia agricultural mechanization seed implementation program, 4 tractors were availed to provide plowing services to small-scale producers with land less than 1 hectare in the Windhoek rural areas. The tractors provided plowing services for farmers surrounding Groothoop, Nawasport, Dodabes, and resettled farmers. This project also provides other agricultural equipment such as jab seed drillers, transplanters, and weeding cultivators, which are available for loaning at Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Land Reform. 2 more big tractors are expected to be delivered to provide plowing for Dodabes and Nawasport. Moreover, through the Comprehensive Conservation Agricultural Program, a total of 217 horticultural producers were trained on climate-smart agricultural practices. 6 leading farmers were identified to assist with promotion of conservati on agriculture. An amount of approximately 100,000 Namibian dollars was also used on conservation agricultural trainings and the establishment of a demo plot at Farm Versailles and Nawasport. Pertaining to the drought support program, under the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Land Reform, a total of 2,469 lucerne and grass bales were sold at subsidized prices to 285 farmers. Maize and cowpea seeds were also made available to assist farmers to plant their fields, of which 175 kilograms of maize, 245 kilograms of cowpea seed were sold to 23 farmers. Seeds for fodder production were also sold as drought support interventions. Lucerne seeds and blue buffalo grass seeds were also sold to 22 farmers. Still, under the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Land Reform, a total of 4 farms comprising 8 farming units were advertised for resettlement, of which 249 applications were received. In line with the ongoing efforts to ensure effective land management, 37 resettlement farming units in the region were monitored to assess compliance with lease agreement conditions. In an effort to address the long-standing land access challenge faced by the Khomas Traditional Authority, the ministry took a deliberate and strategic decision to purchase Farm Groot, Korasi Platz, number 440, for the Khomas community. The farm was formally handed over to the Khomas Traditional Authority. Through the Namibia Agriculture Mechanization and Seed Improvement Project, a total of 41 water tanks and 38 tank stands were provided to the Windhoek rural community for water storage. Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, on the subject of health, the Ministry of Health and Social Services remains steadfast in its quest to provide quality health care and social services to the residents. As such, the Ministry has prioritized infrastructure development for the public health sector to enhance the provision of affordable and accessible quality health care and social services response to the needs of citizens. For the Ministry to create a conducive environment at Katutura Intermediate Hospital, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th and 6th floor ward B has been renovated. Furthermore, the Ministry has officially begun with phase 1 of the long-awaited construction of the Windhoek District Hospital. In that regard, the bulk services tender has been awarded to the value of $25.2 million Namibian dollars, and the contractor is on site. In addition, the electrical network bids to the value of $17.5 million Namibian dollars have been awarded. Furthermore, the Ministry is upgrading the Gameno Rehabilitation and Resource Center, Phase 2, at a contract value of $16.5 million Namibian dollars. In order to ensure the essential medical supply, better management of the supply chain, minimize cost, and ensure patient safety, the Ministry envisioned to construct a new central medical store within the Windhoek Central Hospital. Progress was reported in HIV and AIDS control with Khomas achieving near UNAIDS fast-track targets of 95 to 95 to 95 as part of its national strategy to control and eliminate HIV and AIDS. According to the 2024 data for the Khomas region, an estimated 95% of people living with HIV are aware of their status. 94% of those diagnosed are receiving antiviral therapy, and 98% of individuals on treatment have achieved viral suppression. However, TB remains a major concern, with the region reporting over 1,300 cases by the end of 2024, the highest number recorded nationally. The Khomas Suicide Prevention Task Force reached 4,300 clients on gender-based violence, substance abuse, and suicide through awareness campaigns and social services. The Ministry of Defense and Veterans Affairs, particularly the Namibian Defense, has played a significant role in various national events, particularly during the memorial and funeral services of the founding president, Dr. Sam Shafiishuna Nujoma, and the inauguration of Her Excellency President Dr. Netumbo Dempelila Nandi Ndaitwa on Namibia's independence anniversary on 21st March 2025. The NDF performed critical functions during various significant occasions, including providing security to the heads of states, participated in risk reduction and disaster management, as well as community engagement. Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, the Ministry of Justice and Labor Relations, particularly the Office of the Labor Commissioner, remains committed to improving operational efficiency, strengthening labor dispute resolution mechanisms, and enhancing stakeholder engagement. A total of 1,992 disputes were handled in the Khomas region. Of these, 1,517 were resolved, while 475 remain pending and are scheduled for resolution. From the resolved cases, 62% were concluded through conciliation, while 38% were settled through arbitration. Moreover, 553 workplace inspections were conducted, 450 were found to be complying, while 103 were in contravention with the provision of the law. The Ministry has also issued 15 compliance orders to non-compliant employees or employers, non-compliant employers. In addition, the ministry further received 2,257 complaints, whereby 1,890 have been resolved, while 367 are referred to the Office of the Labour Commissioner for Conciliation and/or Arbitration. In addition, a total of 3,923, of which 2,429 female and 1,494 male job seekers were registered on the Namibia Integrated Employment Information System, and 200 of which excuse me, 218 of which 116 female and 102 male job seekers were placed for employment. Furthermore, the Namibian police force within Khomas region continues to uphold its commitment to ensure safety, security, and law enforcement. In collaboration with City Police, Nampol has established partnerships with local schools, community centers, and neighborhood organizations to foster trust and build positive relationships. Because of the ongoing efforts and collaborative initiatives undertaken by law enforcement agencies, community leaders, and residents, the region has experienced reduction in incidents of housebreaking, drug-related offenses, domestic violence cases, concealment of birth and baby dumping, prohibited substances or illicit drugs to the value of 19 million Namibian dollars was confiscated. The Namibian police has also managed to maintain ablution facilities and replace water pipes in holding cells to the value of 724,000 Namibian dollars. In addition, the construction of the Babylon police station and construction of the Windhoek Okahanja road traffic checkpoint is ongoing. The Ministry of International Relations and Trade, through its diplomatic mission in Angola under the Consulate of Onjiva, has played a significant role in facilitating the bilateral ties of Kunene Province and Khomas region, particularly on the evolving and now formalized relationship between Kunene Province and Khomas region. The Khomas region continues to face several structural and socio-economic challenges that hinder effective service delivery and inclusive development. One of the major concerns is the persistent shortage of both urban and rural land for development, which hinders housing delivery and infrastructure expansion. The region also struggles with the pressures of rural-urban migration, which puts pressure on service delivery in Windhoek rural. Scattered population distribution further complicates the efficient rollout of services. To address these challenges, my office would like to encourage stakeholder engagements, community and intersectoral collaborations for enhanced service delivery. Dear Khomas region residents, I wish to reaffirm that the vision for our region is a collective one, shared by all of us as a nation. Our efforts are guided by the National Development Frameworks and the SWAPO Party Manifesto, which serves as a unifying blueprint for the country. As I often reflect on the words of our founding president, a people united, striving to achieve a common good for all members of the society, will always emerge victorious. I would like to emphasize that our approach is driven by businesses, not as usual, but rather by a shared commitment to our collective vision. Thank you for your dedication and support.
regional address will be provided to us. One, two.
Welcome back to this special broadcast as we bring you that is the analysis of the Khomas State of the Region address. We're coming to you live from the Khomas Regional Council here, where we saw Governor Sam Nujoma delivering his maiden State of the Region address and taking stock count of all the activities that have taken place between the 1st of April 2024 to the 31st of March 2025 within the Khomas region, which is inclusive of all the constituencies and specifically the local authority that of being of City of Windhoek. Yes, you heard it out right. It also resides within that is the Khomas region, even though it is a City of Windhoek. Many people at times obviously get confused that you have constituencies also in the Khomas region and you have the City of Windhoek. No, the City of Windhoek exists within the boundaries of the various constituencies.
Yes.
Indeed. Now, in terms of the governor delivering his maiden State of the Nation, State of the Region address, what did you make of the governor's speech? Were you satisfied? What was your overall view of the governor's address?
I think the first thing that really came to mind, or maybe it's because I'm a communications person, was that the council, Khomas Regional Council, and the Office of the Governor should do more in terms of continuous engagement while these projects are happening, to inform people, look, colleagues, this is what we are doing, this is on the ground, this has been achieved. I don't think these kinds of milestone achievements should wait for a speech, to be shared with people. There should be regular updates on different social media platforms, of the council and of the governor, to show people, look, this is what we have done and this is what we are busy doing. That, I think, is of primary importance, so that can see that there's work happening. But if the office is quiet for a whole year until the SORA, it creates an impression that these people are not working. But truly just looking at the outcomes in terms of water, in terms of the minor capital projects, in terms of renovations done on schools, in terms of sponsorships through NAMCOL or through the different tertiary institutions, I think it is great work. The work genuinely is great, and I think the council in that regard deserves a round of applause, because we see so much achievement throughout the year last year, including this year as well.
Okay. Talking about accountability, I mean, in the context of this SORA being delivered, maybe in the context of asking, how is government kept accountable, especially through a platform such as a State of the Origin address?
Okay, I think the premise is easy. Commitments were made. The speech is a public document. I hope that it will be shared on the different platforms and website of the Khomas Regional Council as well. But this document now serves as, but this is what you said. So by this time next year, we should be able to say, how come this is not done? We should then be able to question that, because it is similar to a manifesto. It is both what we have done and, of course, what people should expect, and that is a very important thing. And that is why, for me, but I'm sure we'll get to that, there were a lot of areas that, in terms of strategic direction, there was no how. You know, the how was missing in terms of the various areas moving forward and how they will be tackled. So for me, this document is really act as a manifesto, a tool through which we can hold the Office of the Governor accountable, the Khomas Regional accountable, because the two offices work very closely together in terms of the things that will be achieved.
Okay, perhaps maybe also speaking, you know, or looking at the maiden speech that the governor just delivered, when it comes to the improvement of accountability and transparency, which is crucial, which we started discussing, you know, before we went to the governor's address. How far has the region come in reflecting based on the SORA that we just witnessed now?
Do you mean specific, with the specific focus on transparency and accountability?
Accountability, yes.
You see, in 2025, most people are more on social media. So people are more inclined to see a social media post as opposed to reading an official document. And that is why I will again iterate that let this level of transparency be translated through the different social media platforms regularly as well, so that it to the constituents do not reflect an impression that people are not busy, whereas they are. And you see, when I saw this speech and when I saw the numbers, when I saw the different achievements, I was amazed. I was just like, but why don't we know these things in real time? The week this is happening, let them take pictures, let them show people what is happening. And it is not only for themselves, but for the people as well. It is this level of transparency and accountability that will increase public trust, because people will see, no, but if the page is always busy, you know, and there's activity, put these things out there more regularly. So strong emphasis should be placed on transparency and accountability through social media as a medium, because that is where most people are. Yeah, people will hardly read annual report. But if you inform them with different snippets, this is where we are, this is what we are doing, that this is how you can partake. And since you're not part of the workshop, please find attached a link to all the PDFs. Kindly. So those are the mediums that must be strengthened in terms of accountability and transparency, because that is how you reach your constituents. Yeah.
Talking about the context coming from the governor's speech, particularly in his address, I was looking at the fact that he read, and I read that in addition that the regional council had financially assisted 101 NAMCOL students to upgrade their grade 11 and grade 12 to the tune of 146,000, and a further 60 students studying at accredited institutions via learning with registration fees at a cost of 251,000. You know, is this perhaps talking to the fact that when we speak that the responsibility of ensuring that people are educated or government services are brought close to people doesn't only belong to the central government or national government, but it is a shared responsibility?
Actually, that particular program falls under the regional council directly, not under the office of the governor. So the regional council annually has that program where they allow for, so what will happen is that each constituency councillor, like Windhoek has 10 constituencies, they will make a call out, and then learners that are in the constituency will apply, and then each councillor will submit the list to the council, and because a budget is already availed, the assessment will be done, and therefore the beneficiaries will receive, like the education in the case of NAMCOL now. So I know that specific output is a Khomas Regional Council output.
Yeah, no, the governor did indicate that the Khomas Regional Council has officially assisted, yes.
Yeah, yes. But obviously the responsibility of education is across board. But remember, since we want to foster decentralization, I think it is more effective that it is done that way, so that obviously the burden thereof does not rest on central government alone, but that individual constituencies feel part of the process. So for instance, like I'm from Katutura Central constituency, and I know of young people that applied for that program, and are now beneficiaries. First-hand experience. It creates some sort of sense that my constituency takes care of me. And I think that is also what Namibians need, especially even to motivate them to vote, because now they see that the officers work,
Government is coming closer to the people.
Government is coming closer to the people, yes.
Again, the other part that you mentioned was pertaining to minor capital projects, and the budget amounting to 12.9 million was availed to implement projects that range from renovation and construction of the ablution facilities at Emmanuel Chifidi were completed to the tune of 755,000, upgrading of Bethel Kachimune School. It completed a value of 205,000, and installation of mass lighting, the Samora Machel constituency, at 1.5 million, just among some of the few. How crucial are these projects, especially in terms of service delivery to the people? We know that majority of the people who are living in Windhoek appear to be living in the rural settlement areas. These are predominantly Samora Machel. We're talking about Khomas constituency, Tobias Anyeko, possibly also John Pandini to a large extent. So let's talk about the impact of this minor capital projects spending to the 12.9 million. Is this significant, especially considering the aspect of rural and urban migration?
I saw that majority of those minor capital projects speak towards renovations of schools and school sporting facilities. You have roads and some other kind of infrastructure. But you see, a key element of good governance is timely responsiveness to the needs of people, and often that is where Khomas region struggles with. Maybe because the population is a lot, but timely responsiveness, like to potholes. You can attest, even as a driver, how many potholes are still in Windhoek, but we are 2 months after the rainy season. So there's that element of timely responsiveness. So yes, even under those minor capital projects, you see the construction of a lab at a school. Great initiative. We have to foster STEM within our high school infrastructure and promote the sciences. But in terms of timeliness, specifically on municipal service delivery, I think that is Khomas region's biggest weakness. So if they can be more invested in terms of capital projects, minor capital projects that focus on how responsive should we be in terms of bureaucracy, and I think that is where the biggest challenge is. Yes, roads will be fixed. Yes, schools will be renovated, but those schools were dilapidated for years before such. But better now than later. But still, responsiveness is something that the Office of the Governor should also strongly request from local stakeholders, like the Regional Council and, of course, the City of Windhoek as well.
Partnership. Now, again, also in terms of the governor's address, he talked about, as far as water provision is concerned, the regional council spent an amount of 6.6 million on drilling, installation and rehabilitation of boreholes, procuring of water equipment, and the establishment and training of 150 caretakers and water point committee in the Windhoek rural constituency.
Yeah.
The importance and magnitude of ensuring water. We know that the CEO of NamWater is famously known for saying that water is a catalyst for development. How important is this milestone of investing 6.6 million into the provision of water services?
Windhoek Rural is, that Groot Oop and the surrounding areas. I think very much important. Those people are also a little bit out of Windhoek and therefore a bit more further than development as opposed to the constituencies that are in town. And because they are predominantly rural towns, I think such a development is very, very good. Again, Lord, we shouldn't hear about these things after. We should hear about them during. And remember, the more they do this consistently over a period of a year, the more it creates public trust. And of course, I'm sure there are a lot of families and communities that are happy that this is happening and that it provides water for them. Great initiative. They must just be stronger in terms of how well they put out the information. Again, to foster public trust.
Fostering public trust. I'm sure you would like this because you were talking about the issue that you thought perhaps maybe might be a little bit higher.
Yeah.
The governor said, and I quote, to address unemployment, which currently stands at 44.4% in the Khomas region, the regional council has continued with its income generating activity programs under the small and medium enterprises were assisted with equipment and material. A total of 2.5 million was spent on 144 SMEs projects ranging from catering businesses, fashion and design, laundry services, arts, craft, graphics, and welding.
Yes, so I'm aware of IGAS because I previously consulted for the John Bandeni constituency. So yeah, IGAS is a program that the Khomas Regional Council runs every year. So similar to the NAMCOL beneficiaries, what they do is they identify local MSME entrepreneurs in the community per constituency, and then they apply in terms of what they need for equipment, whether it's a tailoring machine or for a barber shop, maybe a cutting machine and things like that. And then they hand over these things to foster local entrepreneurship, which is great. Often what happens a lot is that additional training must be given to these business owners in terms of accounting, in terms of marketing their business, in terms of operations. How should I spend my profits? How much must go back into the business? So in addition to the IGAS program, there must be a program that helps on the training of how to do basic bookkeeping to these entrepreneurs, because
so it must go beyond other than just
giving equipment,
equipment. So we must sort of, what I'm trying to get from you is that perhaps additional capacities is needed to ensure that the business lives beyond the support it receives that specific
because businesses are not sustained by the equipment. They are sustained by a lot of different factors that involve bookkeeping, operations. So businesses must be trained. So I genuinely feel the council should do more in that regard, especially for the year, in terms of, okay, now for those that have received the equipment, let's do an assessment of what is the equipment still there, and of course, where can we help them? Do we help them be better with their social media? Do we help them be better in terms of their bookkeeping? What other kind of technology can we give, like a speed point, so that they can deposit money right into their bank accounts? Those are the things that the council should then look at, because I know this program has been running for quite a while, been running for years now, but to grow it a little bit and to make these businesses more effective so that they upscale and therefore are able to employ others more, I think there should be a strong emphasis done on additional training for business growth.
Now, another issue was addressing the issue of housing shortage that the regional council and other stakeholders have also contributed to the construction of low-cost housing under the informal settlement upgrading project, and perhaps we'll also start on that before we conclude. But one significant event was the fact that a cabinet decision was taken to construct the Khomas Traditional Authority Office valued at 3 million. Is that a significant achievement? Because I know they were allocated land sometime last year through the Minister of Agriculture, and it was officiated by Minister Kalesh Ladvein. But now that the fact that funds have been availed to construct an office for them, for the Traditional Authority, how important is that?
I think it is a very important initiative. I know particularly the Khomas sub-tribe feels disadvantaged because they feel like they are the primary inhabitants of the Khomas region, hence the region is also named after that particular tribe. So the initiative, very, very great. The only challenge is just the flow of information. If I am a Khomas Damara, where can I also benefit? Where should I go? Do I do it through my traditional authority? Will that be housing land? Is it farming land? I just feel like there's been lack of information in terms of that. Maybe is it a matter of people not going out to ask the information, or is it perhaps the council's inability or the officers, the stakeholders' inability to communicate it effectively? Because it is always a two-way street. As citizens, we must also play our part and not just say, no, but the information is not coming to me. No, but the people will then say, but it's on the website. How much more coming to you do you need, So it could be a two-edged sword. So maybe it is government inability to communicate effectively, or maybe a citizen a thing of not asking questions. But I know that information is not quite clear in terms of how that particular endeavor will be undertaken, but it is a great, great initiative. And that is why I'm saying, Lord, well done to the council, well done to the stakeholders, but the information should be out more accurately here.
Indeed. Now, again, the governor also indicated that the regional council has supported the rural development program, which was aimed at creating employment, reducing food insecurity, promoting entrepreneurship in rural areas, and contributing to the country's economy and poverty reduction. A combined amount of 312 million was spent on the rural development program, which includes 3 projects under the microfinance, 10 projects under the food security program, and 8 rural farmers supplied with a combined total of 120 goats within the Khomas region. Again, also indicating here from the governor is to say that in terms of the drought relief program through those of the Prime Minister, that is obviously aimed at preserving lives and livelihood. A total of 5,547 drought-affected vulnerable households in the Windhoek rural constituencies were supported. And also, again, the livestock support program under the drought relief program, total of 203 claims were processed under the livestock marketing initiative, valued at 3.6 million to build resilience and preserve livelihood.
Wow. How great is that? And you see, especially for the communities that have benefited from that, that is a means of bread and butter. And ultimately, that is what democracy should come down to, you know, bread and butter issues. That do people eat? Do people have food on the table? Do people have a means for self-provision? And that is what that particular project fosters. And we fully support those kinds of initiatives and stand behind government for doing that. And of course, again, if there's room to do more, let us do more. But that is genuinely a great initiative. Yeah.
Okay, now to conclude our engagement, perhaps one thing that you were mentioning, you're talking about, especially when it comes to the issue of settlements, in pertaining to the national, during the period under review, the governor indicated that the National Housing Enterprise has completed 11 housing units under the informal settlement program in the informal settlement of Khomas and Greenwell to the value of 2.7 million, and also under the same program, NHG plans to construct 23 housing into the value of 5.7 million. In addition, under the low-income apartment projects, NHE plans to construct 235 housing units to the value of 70.3 million in the rural areas of Chomwise, Khomas and Windhoek West, whereas under the low-income middle housing units, 13 houses will be constructed to the value of 15 million. And again, talking about also some of the impact that the Shrek Dwellers Federation of Namibia, and I really got to indicate, maybe they say the Shrek Dweller Federation of Namibia seem to be doing some good work with regards to, you know, servicing of plots, Kanja Park 24, Bethesda, Khomas 16 plots, United People in Greenwell 55 plots together with that's Namibia Housing Action, continue to support low-income housing. Let's talk about this initiative. Some great numbers are coming out here that there's progress made. Perhaps we are not where we want to be in terms of the 5,000 houses that we aim to build each every year, but there is tangible records and you know, impact that we're seeing here.
First of all, Lord, God bless Shrek Dwellers Federation. They've been doing great work over the years. They are our partners in civil society, and I just want to shout out that well done to them, because housing is it's a major issue, especially for rural communities, and that is basically their target audience, giving a safe home, a proper home to rural communities. So well done to them. Furthermore, in terms of those numbers, yes, sitting there, Lord, I'm listening to the State of the Nation, State of the Region address. I stood there in awe looking at those numbers. But this is the challenge. It's actually two-tier. Great work. Well done to the NHU, well done to central government for that initiative. Let's see how soon it will materialize. But seeing how the new government rolls, like they say, business unusual, it may materialize within the space of a year. That is the hope. Or maybe, I haven't seen the whole project document, but let's say 3 years. If that is achieved in 3 years, that would have been a major milestone.
Now, finally, as we conclude, from your perspective, how important is the upcoming regional and local authority elections in shaping local governance, service delivery, timely communication, and continuous engagement, which you emphasize on saying that we shouldn't have to wait for SORA to talk about the tangible impacts that we're making?
This election is very, very important because it hits home. At Namibia Needs Me, we have a slogan, there's a government in your neighborhood. This election is voting for the government in your neighborhood, because these are the people that will determine what will be the names of streets, whether they are potholes, waste management, you know, and all those various things, housing, allocation of plots, how expensive electricity is. And that is why we implore, at Namibia Needs Me, NID, we implore all Namibian citizens to go and vote for their councillors in numbers. Because these are the councillors that will directly and very closely affect your well-being and the well-being of your community. Because in our opinion, this is the most important election, because these are the individuals that focus on bread and butter issues, funding in terms of housing, funding in terms of scholarships. And that is why we cannot sit back on election day, particularly this year, because that election affects bread and butter issues.
That's bread and butter issues. Well, Ginola Nauseb, thank you very much for making time to speak to us.
Thank you very much, Lord. Good to be here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, that was Ginola Nauseb, who's a communications officer for the Namibia Institute of Democracy, talking to us about the outcome of the maiden speech of the Khomas governor, Nujoma, who delivered his maiden speech not so long ago, in terms of that is mandated by the Namibian Constitution and the Regional Councils Act. Article 110 of the Namibian Constitution requires regional governors to deliver a State of the Region address each and every year. Quite an interesting statement, and also some pledges for the upcoming financial year in terms of the Khomas region. Now that concludes our engagement here, right here from the Khomas Regional Council. From myself, Lord Ntamanamata, and the entire team, we say goodbye, and we see you at the next State of the Region address, which will be coming to you live all the way from the Maeke region. That's on the 14th of July 2025 at 9 o'clock from the Maeke region, specifically in Khomas. Until then, it's goodbye.
In a world racing toward cleaner energy, Namibia is emerging as a pioneer.
Green hydrogen is a key enabler for green industrialization.
So the entire project is running on